Hey, it's Webs here with a guide for the first task to the Leroy Jenkins event in Hearthstone Mercenary mode. I said I was going to cover this event a little bit more than the GG event since I was caught a little bit off guard with that and I was kind of out of the mood when I saw how new player friendly it actually was. Though this one does seem to have a little bit of an improvement, especially because the first two tasks are very easy for anyone to complete, even if you don't have that many mercenaries actually unlocked. I did want to test these out a little bit more than I did with the last event. However, given the recent events of today / yesterday, I didn't get really any time to actually playtest a lot of these tasks. So probably for the first four, I'm going to have maybe one strategy, maybe two, depending on how much time I had to test each individual task. But from that point forward, I'm going to try to at least have one budget-friendly version of each task if humanly possible. It really depends on what those tasks actually are, and given how the tasks are actually structured, some of the later tasks might be a lot harder to do on a budget-friendly build. So let's begin with the first task. The non-budget friendly version of how I completed this task was through Fire. Fire is a really good team if you don't have it leveled up. You don't really need all 6 of these mercenaries for this team to actually work. I really only use Belinda, Geddon, and Ragnaros as the 3 mercenaries to both get to the boss and to kill the boss in 30 turns. Belinda, of course, was using Lesser Water Elemental. Geddon was using Mark of Conflagration. Ragnaros was using Blazing Rune as a way to scale the fire damage even further. Outside of this event, this build is actually pretty good anyways to grind out some tasks, so if you can get your hands on Ragnaros, Geddon, and Belinda, you probably should try to do so as quickly as humanly possible, even if you're a new player. Though you can easily substitute Belinda out for either Chiji or Antonius, as I do know Belinda is a legendary mercenary and she isn't the easiest one to actually unlock. The basic idea is if you have Belinda, Geddon, and Ragnaros, you're probably going to use on Belinda Flame Dart, Inferno on Geddon, and Die Insects on Ragnaros. Those are the 3 abilities that you need to level up, so if you're a new player, those are the only 3 that really matter. The secondary build that I actually used to complete the same task was Ariel, Samuro, Zyrilla, which I used to actually get to the boss, followed by Sinestra, Yu'lon, and Brightwing as a way to actually do some AoE to the boss pretty quickly, though you probably could still complete this task by just using Cariel, Samuro, and Zyrilla all together, and you don't really technically need Sinestra, Yu'lon, and Brightwing, but this allows you to actually deal with some of the pesky blue dragons that you run across the way while trying to actually get to the boss. For Cariel, we're using Tome of Light, which gives her additional attack when she has taunt. Samuro, we're using Burning Blade just to make himself scale pretty quickly with his attacks from his first ability. And Zyrilla, of course, we're using Radiant Lawn, which allows us to lower the attack even further from our opponent's mercenaries. And for Sinestra, Yu'lon, and Brightwing, we're using for Sinestra Mana Brooch, which is her stereotypical equipment. Yu'lon, we're using Pearl of Yu'lon as a way to lower the damage that our dragons are actually taking. And finally, for Brightwing, we're using Brightwing's Pouch, as that is the better overall equipment for her for something like this. Now, with that being said, let's go look at the individual boss fights with each individual build. The equipment that I had for the fire team was the following. None of these are really required at all, but it is an easy way to actually scale your fire damage up. Alright, so for the boss fight, we put down Belinda, Geddon, and Ragnaros just so we could actually do some damage. We're going to focus down the big boss mercenary, and we're going to try to freeze him, but sadly because of the immunity that he grants to himself, we're not going to be able to, though we should be doing enough damage to actually just finish off the other mercenary adds here pretty easily. Though we did get a little bit unlucky with Ragnaros' ability, and we're just going to keep passing the turn back and forth, doing the stereotypical combo of Flame Dart, Inferno, and then Die Insects, as this will allow us to actually finish off our opponent, while also using the second ability on the banner, which allows us to actually do this fire damage without doing any damage to ourselves, and then we just win this way. Now for the second team that I actually used to complete this task, we're using the dragon team that we had on the bench the entire time, while we used the other team to actually go up. We're going to try to focus down the individual whelps first instead of the big dragon in the center, just because we want to minimize the amount of damage that they can actually put out, while also trying to use Yulong for her best ability, aka the first ability. And then after we finish off focusing down the whelps, we're going to focus down the big dragon in the center. We're going to heal up Sinestra a little bit further because we want to make sure she doesn't actually die. As we know, the NPC is probably going to focus down Sinestra as she is the biggest threat. Though we are also going to try to scale up our nature damage just so the fairy breath can actually do more damage, and we should be able to win the game pretty quickly after this. Now this one took a little bit longer overall. I think it was like 20 turns compared to like the 10-15 turns of the fire team, but you can still do it. I hope this video was informative of how to complete the first task in the Leroy Jenkins event, and if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, bye bye.